And you brought up the subject of inventory management. A lot of people, they just obviously they look at Seller Central, they see how many pieces they have, but there's no real tracking of how many pieces they have in stock, how many pieces are already in the pipeline on a PO, and how many pieces at Amazon, and then what is their sell-through rate, how it all comes together. I don't really see people making that a priority over and over. And my favorite question is, take your net profit you generated in a month. Compare that to the amount of inventory, the value of the inventory you had at the beginning of that month. What is the percentage, right? So they carry, that's ultimately is where the money runs out. Because if you are not managing this and you are stocking up too much, or sales are slowing down and you keep buying, that's where the disasters occur, right?
Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, people are buying businesses because there's an opportunity, unless you're trying to buy distressed assets, which is not the game that we're in and not the game that we're trying, these aren't the brands we're trying to sell. Your profit margin at the end of the day is really everything when you come to this moment in time. To be very clear, if you're building toward a goal, for right now, for me in my business, I don't care is the wrong word here, but I'm less cautious of how profitable we are because we're in real growth mode across the group of businesses that I'm running here. And to sit there and have stacks of cash in the bank, it's actually wasteful because I want to grow this thing and I want to actually see it's wasted investment. So I'm just saying, being very intentional about what it is you're trying to achieve at that moment in time. And exit is very much about those margins. It's a really critical point.
Yeah. I mean, I was on a podcast myself the other day, and then they asked me a question. They said, "What's the most important thing for a seller to look out for?" And I said, it's kind of something similar to what you just said. I said, I don't care about top line. I don't care about EBITDA, how much net profit they're making. I don't care about conversion rates. What I care about is how healthy is the operation. And that means cash. And the way I measure it is just the way I described a minute ago. Take how much net profit you made in a month, and then compare that to what was the total value of the inventory you were carrying at the beginning of the month. If it's a small percentage, that means you're not going to see a penny of that net profit for X number of months. So that means you are going to be in a cash crunch all the time. And I say to people, you ever find yourself, I don't understand, we're growing all the time, we're making money, but we never have a penny in the bank. Why is that? If you are asking that question, you're not managing your inventory right, your inventory management is not in the right place, and ultimately this can be disastrous. And of course, the real deadly piece of this is how much of that inventory you had at the beginning of the month is actually stale, that doesn't sell, which is what you touched on, right? If something is not performing, kill it, right, Yoni?
Definitely. I agree with you there. I would say that definitely, not to scare everyone off, it is more costly to grow as an e-commerce business grows, so too does that demand on your inventory. So, just being realistic as well with the model that it is, you can be having a really great growing business, and things that you would then start to dive into is what are my terms with my suppliers? If I'm at this size and this volume, am I getting economies of scale? Am I getting better terms? Can I have an extent, there's a lot of different levers that you can pull to find, the right outcome so that you're not under that sort of cash crunch all the time. But to your point, if all those things are in a good place, there's no reason, you should be really asking yourself the hard questions, like Nick very clearly pointed out, in what's going wrong here.
Yeah, exactly. And again, as you put it very nicely at the beginning, facts of life, right? So this is it. If everything is working nice, that doesn't mean that you'll have an easy ride. You still have this cash situation, because everything going right means people are selling, sales are increasing, which means you have to carry more inventory, which means placing more POs, paying upfront a percentage of it. So the never-ending story. Okay, so bottom line, what I'm taking away from this, as far as the chapter, so to speak, on operations and general business, it's really numbers. It's identify those numbers that are important to you, and then make sure that you are on top of them.